Om Shri Matre Namaha. I'm here not as a bhakta, an academic, or even a shakta, but as a child raring to speak about her mother, Jaganmatra, the mother of the universe. Her beauty, her compassion, her playfulness that manifests as all life in not just our world, but in the many universes. May the Mother guide us in this moment to give and receive her vidya as she deems fit. It is said that knowledge is never given, it is always taken, which is why education in the Vedic times required one to cajole endlessly, serve, and even bribe if necessary to entice the guru to impart the knowledge. Without the thirst, water can never quench. Why deem fit? Why do we say the words deem fit? If you look at the Vedas, even the Vedas were never written in a simple format. They were cryptic, but not completely undecipherable, because it left the onus on the person who approached it. Imagine a fits all scenario, except that uh, the garment that you would use would completely transform itself to either expand or contract to fit that individual in all perfection. So, depending on your state of mind, your ability, as well as the stage of your intellectual, emotional, and spiritual development that you have, your understanding of that knowledge will be custom made to fit in that particular stage of your life. Why? Because then it pushes you through to the next stage of development. So, for the entrant, someone who is new to the Vedas, it seems as if it's a set of rules set in stone. Not much thinking required here. You just follow a script and you just follow the rules, and that is the simple form of approaching. If that is how you want to approach the Vedas, then it would do just that. But for the intellectual, the one who will debate and battle it out in the arena of thought, that knowledge becomes a platform. It offers opportunities for discussion. It offers a platform from which you can intellectualize the whole scenario. And thirdly, for the transcendental seeker, the truth paves its way to immortality. For the transcendental seeker, none of this material arena ever suits him. So he approaches the Veda with a different approach. Now, I say this because all knowledge can be received only when one's karma allows it to be receptive to it. If that principle sounds unfair to you, then she, being the compassionate mother, she shows a way to circumvent that as well. Now, if this sounds complicated, let me explain this a little further. I'm sure we have all experienced being in a place with a chance encounter at the right moment to fulfill something that we might have set our intention on. Not at that moment, not even in the week before, but sometimes so far back that even you don't remember, but you know that it is something that you've always wanted. And the compassionate mother fulfills it at the right time. And what is the right time? Her compassion chooses a time that you can handle. We all know instances in the material world of lottery winners who have a windfall, all to succumb to so many negative scenarios. So her compassion will choose a time that you can handle, even if it is something that you yourself wished for. You will never know how it can pan out in reality. I'm reminded of a Chinese curse. They say, may the gods give you everything you ask for. If you got everything you asked for and you don't know how to handle it, then there is no point. The result that the desired result that you want never comes to play in your life. So the calculated average of actions, reactions, intentions, best known only to her, will put us where we are. Does that mean everything is predestined? Yes and no. Yes, because where we start off in a race on the grid depends on our own performance in the past. But how we do and how far we go depends on us. There is the freedom to exercise our choice at every stage. If all this is too complicated, it's so much of a quagmire, I mean, past lives, previous lives, so many things in play, then the alternative that she provides is complete surrender to her. It's that simple. Just completely surrender to her, go with the flow of life, and it is simple in one sense because we just do our best in the situation, and the opportunities that come our way, whatever it is that is accorded to us, we just go with the flow. Difficult because it requires exceptional trust and the ability to let go and remembering at all times that she will never let you down. It's easy to say, but very hard to practice in reality. I mean, almost all the time, we like to be in control of what, or at least we think and imagine that we are in control of what we are doing. And it is even more difficult when you completely surrender that all your faculties to her and say, yes, I will go with the flow. Difficult because you operate blind, and operate blind as in not visually impaired, but you're tangibly impaired. Your five senses that have helped you approach and connect the world are of absolutely no use here. You cannot see her, you cannot touch her, and you especially cannot negate, argue, or work out a compromise as you would with your real mother, your foster mother, or your earthly mother. You need to work with the knowledge that is the substratum that makes all knowing possible. What is that even? Let me digress from the intensity of this conversation to give you an anecdotal break. An instance from my own life when my son, Shambhava, was a child of 3. His birth, his upbringing, from preconception to post-conception, and up till now is a story for another time. True, I did not make a mistake with my choice of words. His nurturing started even before he was conceived. Now, this should not come as a surprise because in the shastras, this is the norm. What we have lost is the knowledge of how, and so this seems like an exception. Take this simple example of a farmer. Does he ever throw a seed onto arid ground, taking a chance with nature, with his fingers crossed, hoping that it will grow? Isn't the soil tilled, fertilized, conducive for its growth? Which is how all children are best brought into this world. So, to continue the story, by her grace, he has been inculcated in independent sadhana since he knew to utter the word Amma, Amma in Tamil, which is, of course, everybody will know is how you call your mother. And once, to the alacrity of my own earthly mother, I told the unassuming child that I'm not his real mother, but the Devi is. She is permanent. And she comes before I do. My biological mother, with all her good intentions, feared that this might traumatize my child. The reality is, the entire universe is her Maya. while whole worlds collapse around us at all times, how can I guarantee my life and companionship to my child forever? He needs to anchor himself to the eternal truth. And the younger they start, the better for them. Does this mean that he will never be tossed around in this world? Does this mean he is protected from all the things that are naturally happening to other children? No, of course not. It means that he will be tossed around joyfully with the strength and confidence that can only come from a connection to her. It will be a dip in the roller coaster of life, and he just needs to wait it out and move on to the high. And what's more scary than the dip is the high. He needs to handle that high just as gracefully. He will not be pushed into a corner of darkness and self destruction because his perception would believe that there is no way out. This is normal human perception. I would, at this point in time, like to take you to something that is not much spoken about, but is very much a part of Valmiki's Ramayana. In the Sundarakandam, in chapter 13, Hanuman sets forth with the crucial task of searching for Sita. He has no picture of her. He has no idea what she looks like. It's not the days of Instagram where you know exactly what you're looking for. He has Rama's verbal description of Sita, and the task is humongous. He looks for Sita everywhere in the Lankadvipa, but to no avail. It seems as though he is about to fail in his task. His mind is in complete disarray. Lankadvipa is said to be filled with the most beautiful of forests. It's supposed to be a beautiful island. After all, Ravana was a devote of Lord Shiva. And he, besides that one aspect of him that brought about his entire destruction, he was complete in every other aspect. So Hanuman just did not know where to look. And he almost felt like he's about to fail in his task. His mind is in complete disarray. His thought processes goes forth thus. What if I can't find Sita? Then Rama will be so distraught that he will lose his will to live. Now, if you look at Valmiki's Ramayana, it doesn't deify Rama as a god. It depicts him with all the frailties of a human being. And he says, if Rama is not there, then Lakshmana will cease to exist. If Lakshmana is not there, Bharata and Shatrughna will no longer be there. The queen mothers will follow suit. And whole Ishwaku Vamsham, the lineage of Lord Rama, will vanish. And who is to blame for all this? Me, Hanuman. I just can't bear to live with myself. And when Hanuman quotes his own depression, he loses his will to live. Now, if this can happen, and this is there in the Ramayana, in the Sundarakanda, if someone as a demigod, as Hanuman can lose the will to live, what about us, mere mortals? How do we find the strength to move on, to evolve, to be the best that we can be? So at that point in time, he thinks about Rama. He thinks of the Rama mantra, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. And when he keeps chanting this mantra, he finds his bearing again. And when he surpasses his own shoka or sorrow, he finds Sita and he wins over his quagmire of thoughts and he finds Sita in the Ashokavana. So this I bring to the fore to take strength from the fact that if Hanuman could not overcome without the help of his Ishtadevata, then how would we overcome the trials and tribulations of life without her grace? With this bhava of surrender, which is the only approach that is the operating principle of my own life, let the Devi bless us as we meander into the realm of the Mother and the Shree Chakra. Bhumau skalita padanam bhumirevavalambanam. For those who slip and fall on the ground itself offers support. Tvayi jata paradanam tvameva sharanam shive. Similarly, for those of us who commit mistakes in your worship, in our approach to you, you alone are the refuge, O Goddess. Our body is a vessel of receptivity to her grace. Our body is also the temple that houses the divine principle that makes all life possible. So long as we are alive, there is always the possibility of yuj or communion with her. Consciousness is the key. What then is consciousness? Are we always not conscious? We are conscious, but we are constantly shuttling between three states of consciousness. We are awake, we are dreaming, and then we are in deep sleep. Yet, there is this fourth state of consciousness called Turiya. That is the substratum on which the other three states of consciousness are given life or knowledge. If you know that you're awake, what in you allows you to know that you're awake? If you're asleep, you wake up and you know that you've been asleep. If you are dreaming, you are conscious of the fact that you are dreaming. And in your deep sleep, you have lost consciousness, but you are still aware of the fact that you've had deep sleep. So what makes this consciousness, the base substratum, that consciousness is called Turiya. It is a consciousness that gives you the knowledge of the other states that we constantly shuttle between. It is that consciousness that connects us, the microcosm as human beings, to the macrocosm as divinity. Tat Tvam Asi. I am that. Mahatripura Sundari, Lalitambika, Kameshwari. These are the names of the residing goddess of the Shree Chakra. Mahatripura Sundari means the most resplendent, beautiful goddess of the three worlds, Bhuloka, Pataloka and Swargaloka. Lalitambika is the playful one. She makes this world possible, this whole Maya, everything is her creation. Kamakshi, Ka of the Kamakshi represents Brahma, A represents Vishnu, and Ma represents Shiva. It is said that with her Akshi is glance, the eyes. It is said that with her glance she created the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Shiva as the desire, Vishnu as knowledge, and Brahma for action, for Srishti. Now, she is represented as, in all shastras, in the Shakta scripts, she is represented as the sound Inkara. Inkara is the sound E. Now, when we remove the sound E from Shiva, there is Shiva, and I remove E from Shiva. What do we have? We only have Shava. Shava left, the lifeless non-being. Her communion with Shiva manifests as creation. And so the, the topic of this entire day, without him I exist not, without me he is unmanifest, is a beautiful representation of the sound Inkara, which is the Bija sound of the Devi. Shiva, as we know, is Parabrahman. He's also known as Parashiva. Para means beyond. But without his Shakti, he is just existence, consciousness, and bliss. Sat, Chit, Ananda. He needs nothing, he wants nothing, and he will remain in that state of bliss. He is Purusha, the cosmic being in constant bliss. He is self-sufficient. He is just in bliss. While Shakti is Prakriti. Prakriti is not as simple as nature. Prakriti includes the three gunas in combination with the Panchabhutas, the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and the Panchabhutas as in Akash, Vayu, Jala, Agni, and Prithvi. Earth, wind, water, fire, and space. Now, the divine union of the primordial feminine energy, Prakriti, with cosmic consciousness of existence bliss, Purusha, brings forth Srishti or procreation, maintaining the constant cycle of creation and balance. This is what is represented in the Shree Chakra or the Shree Yantra. To the uninitiated, the Shree Chakra is a geometrical representation of the Devi, the universe, and the entire cosmos. A chakra is a circle or a wheel, while yantra means a tool of influence. Yan means influence, curb, control. What do you mean by influence, curb, control? It is to influence your life to the next level. It is to curb the negativity from affecting your life, while tra is a tool illustrating a sacred geometrical arrangement to help us with whatever we may wish for by removing or minimizing the opposition along the way in its attainment. Isn't that what propitiating divinity in any form, in any lineage do? Yes, to a certain extent. But with all the other deities and their vidhis, where there is bhoga, material benefits, there is no moksha, salvation. And where there is moksha, there is no bhoga. There are many Puranic stories that state that after agora tapas, intense penance, a sadhaka is a person who performs sadhana for their respective deities, finally gets an opportunity to ask for a boon in front of their Ishtadevata. Be it Vishnu or Shiva, they kept being sent to the other. When Shiva is asked for moksha, he sends him to Vishnu saying, that is not my department. Vishnu is the one who grants moksha. And when Vishnu is asked for eternal life, he is sent to Shiva. I can relate a couple of stories for that. As in the case of Markandeya, when Markandeya was granted the boon of only 16 years of life, because it was his father who chose to either have an intelligent, wise child up to the age of 16 or to have a mudaka or a fool, but who could live with the father forever. So Markandeya was instructed to do tapas with Shiva, and Shiva granted him a boon to live eternally as 16 years. And in the case of Shiva, I'd like to tell you a story that is relevant even today. When in the Manikarnika Ghat in Kashisthalam. All the tantrics till today relate to how in the crematorium, when the corpses are burning, the left ear of all the bodies are slightly tilted upward compared to the right ear. And this they say is because the ever compassionate Shiva, known to smear himself with ashes and live in the grounds, will never fail to utter the phrase Shri Rama Rama Rameti in the ears of every soul that has given up its life in Kashi Kshetra, sending them to Vishnu for moksha or freedom from the cycle, and granting them freedom from the cycle of birth and death. He is Kala Bhairava, Kaleshwara, eternal with the manipulation, the ability to manipulate time. While Shiva is time itself, Shankara describes Kamakshi, the mother goddess of the yantra, as wearing the sun and moon in her as her earrings. As we all know, the time on earth is either depicted by the cycle of the moon or the cycle of the sun. And time is just an ornament for the mother. Only with the Devi and her ShreeYantra, there is both Bhoga and Moksha at the same time. She is Kama Akshi, the fulfiller of all desires. She is Sarva Kamamai, the nature of desire itself. The Shri Chakra is called the Raja Chakra or the king of yantras. It is said that 63 yantras were given to mankind to counter the various ills and help them attain siddhi. To name a popular few, we have the Navagraha Yantra or the Dhanvantri Yantra or the Hayagriva Yantra, etc. But of the 63 besides the 63 yantras, only one yantra was given to Devi, the Shri Yantra, which was an amalgamation of every known yantra that was previously given to mankind, the most powerful one. And she, in her compassion, passed it on to Hayagriva, who in turn gave it to Agastya Muni and then to mankind. If this does not show the magnitude of her love for us, what will? Now, the Shri Yantra itself, which many of you must have already seen, it is represented as 9 interlocking triangles. 4 upward-facing triangles depicting Shiva, with 5 downward-facing triangles depicting Shakti, with the red dot or the bindu in the center depicting creation. When Purusha, as desire, wants to multiply himself, and only when Prakriti is willing and vice versa, then Shiva, represented as the Varna white, merges with Shakti, represented as the Varna red, to become the red Bindu. This is the principle behind the white vibhuti that you receive in all Shivastalams and the red kumkum that we receive in the Devi temples. Why then are the interlocking triangles not equal? Why is there one extra triangle for the mother? Because the triangles represented as the powers of creation and dissolution, if they become equal, then they cancel each other. 4 triangles of dissolution and 4 triangles of creation, when they cancel each other, there is nothing. There's only pralayam, there is no creation. The extra triangle from the mother is for life to manifest. There is no creation without Purusha and Prakriti coming together. The moment one tries to separate them, then only destruction is imminent. As in the case of the story of Daksha and Ravana. Ravana wanted Sita. Sita is a form of Devi for himself, while he wanted to do away with Rama. And Daksha Prajapati wanted to separate Sati from Shiva. While in the first case, an entire country was burned down. And in the second, an entire yajna, including Daksha, was burned down. Here, I should recount the story of Sati in detail and how the Dasha Mahavidyas came about. Dasha Mahavidyas is a way to propitiate the Shree Yantra with the Devi at the helm. So when we talk about mantra puja, which is a form of relating to any god, we say the Gayatri mantra, we say the Mrityunjaya mantra, we say so many mantras, the Lakshmi mantras. But when it comes to the Devi, it is not called the Shri mantra, it is called the Shri Vidya. Vidya meaning knowledge. Why? Because this uh, um, praying to, or this vidhi for relating to the Shree Yantra is an entire knowledge that helps you deal with life itself. So, as you can, the story goes that Daksha Prajapati, that is, Daksha Prajapati is actually the created son of Brahma. He does intense penance to receive Jagannatha, or the Devi, or the mother, or Parvati as his daughter. But as Maya would have it and spares no one, even as soon as Jagannatha is born to him, he only thinks of her as his daughter. And he forgets completely that she is the mother goddess. And against all odds, Sati, as she is known in that form, marries Shiva. Daksha is aghast. He thinks his daughter deserves better. What with Shiva's matted locks and the company he keeps of his Bhutaganas and the free spirit that he has, with the lack of rules and ash smeared from head to toe, was he any match to his daughter? Was he any match to the granddaughter of Brahma itself? So he holds this huge yajna and invites everyone except Shati and Shiva. When Sati is privy to this knowledge, of course brought about by none other than Narada Muni himself, who is known famously to stir the bee's nest, but all his mischief will only culminate in the best of outcomes. Sati implores Shiva to go with her. But Shiva says they were left out on purpose and they should not go uninvited. To which Sati says that daughters need no invitation to go to their father's home. So Shiva says, do as you wish. After all, you are the Akshayini. In the Puranic texts, one of the daughters' names will always be that of the father. For instance, Janaka's daughter is Janaki, Drupada's daughter is Draupadi, and similarly, Daksha's daughter is also known as Dakshayini. Sati's rage knows no bounds. How could Shiva address her like she was a mere woman? She is Shakti, the element that gives life to all beings. She is the cosmic womb. If you take the instance of any of the Devi's avatar, be it Sita or Radha or Padmavati or Anda, they are all found, never born in the womb. Devi is Hiranyagarbha, Swarnagarbha, the primordial womb. What womb can fit her? Whereas if it is Rama or Krishna or any avatar, they are always born to women. Even Kaushalya holds Rama in her womb, according to Valmiki, for 10 months before he comes out. So as this happens, Shiva realizes that he has spoken too casually and attempts to walk away. And from the mother's eyes arrives Kali as a beam of life, the first Mahavidya. preventing Shiva from moving forward. He turns behind him, there is another goddess. He turns to the right, there is another goddess. He turns to the left, there is another goddess. This way, all 10 directions around Shiva are completely blocked by the Dasa Mahavidyas, the presiding deities of the Shree Chakra. They are the primary deities with the Mahatripura Sundari at the helm in the center of the Meru. The Meru is the three-dimensional depiction of the two-dimensional Shree Yantra in which the Devi resides. So this would be a good place to leave you all with the Empress Sri Mahabhattarika, or as Shankara says, she is the mother, she is the ruler, and she is the reigning deity of the cosmos. And with great humility, I surrender this at the feet of Shree Mantra, Shree Maharagni, Srimad Simhasaneshwari. The first line of the Lalita Sahasranam, which is constitutes of 1,000 names of the goddess. Pahimam, 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 protect us all, O goddess. Devi Tupyam Namo, Devi Tupyam Namo, Devi Tupyam Namo. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Okay, thanks so much for this wonderful I don't know, depiction. Thanks so much for this. I recently had a experience wherein I was doing this chanting of Gayatri mantra, and at the end of the meditation, the Shree Yantra, I saw Shree Yantra in the vision very, very clearly. So is there, I couldn't understand, what was the correlation, or, how it appeared. I was just very curious about it. So anything that you would, you know, mm, that comes, because for me it was like for the first time. Yeah.
So the Gayatri mantra is a very, very powerful mantra, and it is a mantra that is, for instance, it propitiates all life. It is usually said at the twilight of dawn and said at the twilight of dusk. And this is because the correlation I can think between the Gayatri Mantra and the Shree Yantra is because is the color red. Like before the sun rises, we see the hue, which is called Aruna. Now, Aruna is supposed to be the charioteer of Surya Bhagavan. So, and he is supposed to, Aruna itself means red. So, he is supposed to show his presence first before Surya Bhagavan comes onto the sky. So, I would think that Aruna as a color is very poignant about with the goddess. So this is the first connection that I can think of. The Surya Udayam with Aruna as a charioteer, and the red hues of the sky, and the red of the goddess, because the Sri Yantra has in his innermost part the three intersecting triangles. The two intersecting triangles with the bindu in. So the triangle of white with the triangle of red come together as a pink shade, or mostly known as a red shade. So I would think that when you're chanting the Gayatri mantra, your intensity was so quite high that you could relate to the Sri Chakra in that, which itself is, I would say, now this I would say are the small signs that with our tapas in whatever way, whether it is mantra tapas or any sankalpa that you take, that the goddess makes her presence known. Like there are instances where people, let's say, even up to recently, when in Tirupati, the Shastri was giving Harati to Vishnu, he felt a slight breeze on his face in the Garbhagraha. And once in Kanchipuram, in Kamakoti Peetam, when the Garbhagraha door was opened first thing in the morning, a parrot flew out. So, there are different intensities in which the goddess makes her presence known. So, it depends on your level of evolution. For some people, it happens in this lifetime itself. For some people, they bring in a karmic, fruit from a previous life. So could um, this could be something that is granted exclusively to you. Sometimes when you are praying or at an altar, then there is a sign of a flower falling down from a portrait. But we can say that the flower is just fallen down. It need not mean anything, but still your eyes should capture it falling down. Your presence is required in the puja room, and it happens all together like a coincidence. But it almost always is. Maybe you have a doubt, or maybe you are intensely wishing for something, or you're even just in communing with the goddess. But at these instances, a sign can come in many forms. So I would think that yours would be a sign at that point in time when your intensity for the chanting or the tapas that you are doing has reached a stage. Would you be able to relate to what I said?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is her grace.
Nidhi, you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay. Thank you, Arunji. So my question is, if we have Mahameru and ShreeYantra at home, like any do's and don'ts for that? Specific.
Yeah, the Shree Yantra, even though is only a two-dimensional representation of the Mahameru itself, the Shree Yantra is adorned in the wall. Of course, if anybody who is associated with the Shree Yantra has some knowledge of it, would know which places to place the Shree Yantra as a two-dimensional portrait. Usually on the eastern wall, in front of your puja room or sannidhi. And as for the Mahameru, it is best if the Mahameru is in your Garbhagraha after you take Diksha from a guru, or even if you don't, if you can follow the practice of daily Abhishekam, Aradhana with flowers, kumkum, or so it requires a little bit more effort than just the Shree Yantra picture in the wall, the two-dimensional form, or even a two-dimensional yantra, as in a copper plate, or so on and so forth. But the Mahameru, in its three-dimensional form, is always placed only in front of the Devi. If you have Annapurneshwari or Parvati or Shiva, then it's best that the Mahameru is placed in front of the Devi and also is propitiated with not the Agama Shastras, but it requires daily obeisance to it.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. And one more question. Like, if we have it, can it, like, for example, if there is any Vastu dosha, can it overcome that as well with the
Yeah, I understand this, because this is a very popular I do not know the evolution of how the ShreeYantra became an exclusive Vastu correction device, but it can also correct Vastu. But that should not be the primary reason why
No.
we adopt the ShreeYantra, because the ShreeYantra per se can nullify a lot of ills. Like I said, every conceivable deity, maybe about thousands of them, are propitiated in every aspect of the ShreeYantra. Every Rudra, be it Brahma, be it Vishnu, be it Maheshwara, be it Skanda, be it Ganesha, every single deity has got his own separate space in the ShreeYantra. So something as powerful as that can, of course, modify or prevent the bad effects of, to some extent. Because the thing about the ShreeYantra is just placing it as a picture on the wall is not going to bring forth everything that you desire. It's a question of, yes, you can ask, like I said, the ShreeYantra, the Shree Chakra will give you moksha and bhoga. And it will give you what you ask for as well. It's all right for it to be transactional. But what about how you can be a part of the Shri Yantra? If you are able to relate to the Yantra, and she will guide you through it. I mean, it's important when you find a guru for a Shri Yantra to not just find something on the internet or be taken up by something. Find out about their lineage, find out what ashram they belong to, or if you want to go that route. But otherwise, you need not do anything. You just have to, in whatever level you are at, in whatever dhyanam that you are able to relate to with the goddess, do that on a daily basis. Establish a relationship with the yantra for yourself. Sometimes just sitting in front of the yantra at eye level and looking at the yantra will give you a good effect. Will start giving you pointers, and then will also help you flow in the right direction. So if that answers your question.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Hi, I think that was an awesome session. Really, we could all see the passion, the love and devotion that you have for Mother coming through. Just out of curiosity, it's okay if you wouldn't want to share. How did the calling come? I just want to know, because I generally hear the saying, it's spoken about in my family too, that it's very rare, and it's a very powerful call, and she doesn't call it all. She picks few people only. So I just, out of curiosity, if you feel it is personal, it's okay. How did she call?
I'd love to share, because anything to do with the mother is just her platform. Even the fact that we are here in the same platform meeting and talking is her doing. You know what you rightly said, the very fact that all of you are here in the meeting, it cannot happen without her permission. The fact that I'm here talking to all of you cannot happen without her concurrence. So yes, I cannot specifically tell you when and where it started, but it started very young. There was always this vasana from a previous life, maybe, where I would have a sort of longing or what do you say, a leaning to the mother and the path. So even though, of course, in the course of your younger days, you dabble in it a little bit, you get out of it, you do what you have to do. You're a child and you are growing up, but there are many times when I look back, I feel like I have been placed in the palm of her hand for whatever reason. I started looking at different spiritual aspects from when I was 9, and it started getting more intense around 16, 21. When I was 21, I was shown the Sri Chakra for the first time in my life. And it was love at first sight. As soon as I saw the Sri Chakra, I felt like I had to have it on my body. And ever since, that Sri Chakra has always been a part of me. I don't go anywhere without it. It's a little pendant that came from the Satyanarayana temple in Mambalam in Chennai. I do not even know how and why it reached me, but it did. Through a very close, I would say, a soul sister, friend come soul sister. So since the time it came and placed itself on my body, the longing for the Devi started. So of course it is her choice, it's her, and I do not know why, but probably she trusted me enough to just follow her, and I did. And I'm extremely grateful for that trust, because at every point in time I feel that she is closest to me. She is my everything. And when I got married, now what I wear in my neck, I can show it to you. This is my thali. And every family has a specific thali that is created with in a certain shape or manner, the Mangal Sutra. And when it came to my marriage, I did not want the regular Mangal Sutra. I wanted only the Sri Chakra to be my Mangal Sutra. And it must have been her wish, because for a woman to kind of be very, very confident and knowing that this is exactly what I want, this is what I want to wear on my body permanently and nothing else, cannot come without her support. And by her grace, my husband and my husband's family, very supportive. They completely agreed, and my thali was made by yoginis in the Srividya Peetham in Trikonimalai in Trichy, and it was kept in a yajna for 10 days. And it came finally the day before we got married as a thali. So these are all the instances I feel that she kind of is there by my side. And in a day, I don't mind saying this, but in a day I am in sadhana for an average of 4 hours, and it is only to do with the mother and whoever she wants me to propitiate. So, and I can also tell you a story about how I started creating the ShreeYantra. Before that, I must tell you, when I wanted to have a child, she told me that she puts these thoughts in my head. So don't be too alarmed when I say she told me. It's not like I'm hearing voices in my head, but she's got this very strong way of making her presence felt, and allowing for that one particular choice to take precedence over the other, because she kind of gives impetus to that. So when I wanted to have my child, she was drilling in my head on a daily basis to paint her. Now, if you take, I'm closest, the Kamakoti Peetham and Mother Kamakshi in the Kamakoti Peetham, the reigning deity of the Sri Chakra also, is everything to me. And she kept drilling in my head that I have to paint her. there are no pictures taken of Kamakshi in the Kamakoti Pita. There is only one picture sanctioned by Shankaracharya, the elder Shankaracharya. And this painting is there in the Kamakoti Pita, and there are no other photographs. Nobody is allowed to take pictures of her. So by her grace, this artist rendition of her, she ensured that it landed in my hand. Not the real one, but a copy of it. And it's a very small one. And she kept drilling in my head that I have to paint this. So I did an oil paint portrait of her, and I finished the portrait in the month of October, and I conceived my child in November. So these are the ways in which she becomes a reality of my everyday life. And once when my child was 4 years old, he was terribly food poisoned. We had to hospitalize him, and it had been 2 days, and there was no marked improvement. And my husband, because we've been in the hospital, and my husband wanted to give me a little bit of relief. So at 3 o'clock one morning, the second day morning, he sent me home to shower and freshen up. So as I'm driving back home, and I didn't want to go, and he sent me, of course, to rest, but I didn't want to go rest. I came, I showered, I went down to the puja room, and she kept drilling in my head, draw the yantra, draw the yantra, draw the yantra. I've never drawn the yantra in my life before, other than the yantra that I drew off in the yantra of the goddess when I painted her. And she said, chant the Lalita Sahasranamam and draw the yantra. So the Lalita Sahasranamam takes about 25 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes, depending on the rendition that you are chanting it with. So in about 30 minutes, as I'm drawing the yantra, I'm chanting, and in my puja room, I finish and I go at 5 o'clock back to the hospital. And for the first time in 2 days, my son is normal. We removed the IV fluids. He stopped vomiting, and he just turned that morning. And by that evening, he was discharged, and we brought him back home. So this is the reason why I told you this, relating this story, is because that was the day I started doing the yantra. And I kept doing the yantra with the mantra every single day. And then one fine day, I did a big yantra, and she just tells me what to do from there on. So that's my sharing for you.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you. Migom Nandri.